It was 9:10 a.m. Excuse me, when the governor switched on the receiver. He had instructed Jackson to tell Evans of the temporary little precaution. So you see, it was 9:10 a.m. when the governor switched on the receiver. He's going to budge in. He had instructed Jackson to tell Evans of the temporary little precaution. What was the precaution? That was only fair, as if Evans would not spot it. But wasn't it all a bit theatrical? Schoolboyish almost? How on earth was Evans going to try anything on today? If he was so anxious to make another break, why in heaven's name hadn't he tried it from the recreational block? So Governor was very, very alert. His mind was always, having a negative notion about Evans. He had made all extra precaution here. Temporary little precaution refers to the, placement of the microphone on the door in order to budge in about Evans. So Governor was thinking to himself only, aren't I becoming too much anxious, too much, thoughtful, thinking too much? How on the earth is it possible to escape from the heavily guarded cell? Rather, he could have done it long before from the recreational block while he was taking classes, night classes in German. Much easier. But he hadn't. And there he was now, sitting in a locked cell, all the prison officers on the alert, two more locked doors between his cell and the yard, and a yard with a wall as high as a haystack. Yes, Evans was as safe as houses. So the governor was, having a lot of tension within his heart regarding Evans, because he's a notorious criminal for known for escaping the jail. So he was very alert, and he was talking to himself. He was thinking within himself that I am thinking too much. It is not possible for him to do so. Okay, with so guarded a place, and there are two doors, and there is his cell. Okay, between his cell and the outer main gate there are two doors, and the outer wall is as high as haystack. You can see in the picture all the prison officers, two locked doors, a big yard. So if he would have to escape, he would have done it before. Anyway, it wouldn't be any trouble at all to have the receiver turned on for the next couple of hours or so. It wasn't as if there was going to be anything to listen to, was it? Amongst other things, an invigilator's duty was to ensure that the strictest silence was observed. But still, that little nagging doubt, so there was nothing to listen to much, because an invigilator was placed, and it was the invigilator's duty to keep silence within the examination room. So naturally, apart from doubts, if any, there won't be any discussions. So nothing to hear as much, but still the governor had that pinch of, that doubt within his mind with Evans, and that is the reason he put the receiver on. Might receiver on in order to budge in what was happening within the room of Evans. Might Evans try to take advantage of McLeary, get him to smuggle in a chisel? You see, this is a chisel, okay, or two, or a rope ladder, or something. Evans can do anything. Okay, nothing. He cannot be believed. He cannot be predicted. So Evans may do anything. He may take advantage of McLeary. He may use any instrument and then, just blackmail. The governor sat up sharply. It was all very well getting rid of any potential weapon that Evans could have used. But what about McLeary? What if quite unwittingly means unknowingly, unintentionally, the innocent McLeary had brought in something himself? A jackknife, perhaps? And what if Evans held him hostage with such a weapon? So all the weapons were taken out, made sure that nothing sharp instrument or any weapon was kept in his cell. But then what about McLeary? McLeary, if by unwittingly, unknowingly, unintentionally he had kept something, okay, without even conjecturing what may happen, and if Evans take advantage of this, okay, so if Evans, like, this is a jackknife in the picture, so what if Evans held him hostage then? The governor reached for the phone. It was 9:12 a.m. He was becoming extra alert and super cautious. Okay, it was 9:12 a.m. The examinee and the invigilator had already been introduced by Stephens when Jackson came back and shouted to McLeary through the cell door, "Can you come outside a minute, sir? You too, Stephens." So the examinee, excuse me, had already been introduced by Stephens when Jackson came back and called McLeary and Stephens out of the cell for a minute. Why? Because governor instructed by phone call to check in whatever McLeary brought with him in his suitcase. Jackson quickly explained the governor's worries to McLeary, that this is the worry, sir. Don't you mind? I have to check your things because the man you're taking, whose exam you will be taking, is a jailbreak and blah blah blah. And McLeary patiently held out his arms at shoulder level whilst Jackson lightly frisked his clothes. That is, he was checked whether he brought something unknowingly, unwittingly. So you see, he was checked like this, like what happens in airport authorities check us in that way. Airport terminals. "Something hard here, sir?" "Oh, my reading glasses," replied McLeary, looking down at the spectacle case. "Okay, that is my reading glasses," Jackson quickly reassured him, and bending down on the landing, thumb flicked the catches on the suitcase. Catches means whatever was within the suitcase. Okay, he looked at him, reassured him what was inside the suitcase. The catches of the suitcase refers to the locks. The locks were opened in order to check whatever was inside the suitcase. He picked up each envelope in turn, carefully passed his palms along their surfaces, whether nothing was brought within the envelope, and seemed satisfied. He riffled cursorily through a few pages of Holy Writ. Cursorily means just have to do the work. Like, it's a norm, have to check like that. The Holy Writ is the Bible, and vaguely shook the church times that he had brought. Shook it in order to see whether nothing was there inside. All right so far. But one of the objects in McLeary's suitcase was puzzling him badly. Sorely means badly. There was something which could not be described that was within McLeary's suitcase. What was that? "Do you mind telling me why you have brought this, sir?" So he had brought something, and now Jackson is confused and asks him, "Why have you brought it, sir? What is it?" He held up a smallish, semi-inflated rubber ring, such as a young child with a waist of about 12 inches might have struggled into. You see, this is the rubber ring. Okay, the kind of that, life ring. Okay, it was inflated, a rubber ring, a smallish. Okay, and you thinking of going for a swim, sir? So you're asking, why on the earth have you brought it, sir? Do you intend to going on for a swimming, sir? McLeary is still now. Hitherto means still now. Amiable means friendly. Demeanor means appearance was slightly ruffled, changed by his tasteless little pleasantry. And he answered Jackson somewhat sourly, "If you must know, I suffer from hemorrhoids, and when I'm sitting down for any length of time—" "Oh, very sorry, sir. I did not mean to—" The embarrassment was still reddening Jackson's cheeks when he found the paper knife at the bottom of the case. So you see, McLeary was still then very fine, very fine. His behavior was well, but as soon as he was asked about the smallish semi-inflated rubber ring, and his demeanor changed, and he told that he suffers from hemorrhoids. At that time he requires blood, and that is the reason he had brought this rubber tube. And he was very sorry, sir. Jackson was feeling embarrassed embarrassed to have checked him and questioned his illness. So he was feeling bad. So he was apologizing. As I told you in the beginning, that our author had a very good notion about medical terms and terminology. So that is the reason he has used this skill in the story by introducing the thing of the semi-inflated rubber ring, and hemorrhoids that can be treated with such blood whenever required. The embarrassment was still reddening Jackson's cheeks. He was embarrassed to ask him this question. He found the paper knife. I think I would better keep this though, if you don't mind, that is, sir. So, sir, I can't allow you to keep any sort of instrument, even if it is a paper knife. It was 9:18 a.m. before the governor heard their voices again. And it was clear that the examination was going to be more than a little late in getting underway. So the exam was supposed to start at 9:15. It was already 9:18. Now, the conversations between McCleary and Evans, that is, the invigilator and the examinee. You have got a watch, Evans? Yes, sir. McCleary, I'll be telling you when to start, and again when you have 5 minutes left, right? All right? So he informs him, I'll tell you when to start, and before 5 minutes, I'll give you a warning. Silence. McCleary, there's plenty more of this writing paper should you need it. Silence. So there are more sheets if you need it, nothing to worry about. Okay, there was silence, nothing from the part of Evans. McCleary, now write the name of the paper. Now this part is very important because some numbers are here that Evans will use later as a mode of escape and a mode of hiding out. 0 to 1, 1 in the top left hand corner, that is this side. Write the name of the paper, that is the O-level exam, that is the index. McCleary, in the top right hand corner, that is that side, write your index number, that is 313, that is 0 to 11313, and in the box just below that, write your center number, that is 271. All right? Silence. 9:20 a.m. McCleary, I am now going to. Evans is not going to stay here, is he? So Stephens was inside the cell, already 5 minutes late for the exam, and as he was going to start, Evans says he's also going to stay here. He's talking about Stephens, who was placed there inside the cell, watching over McCleary and Evans. McCleary, I don't know about that. Mr. Jackson's given me strict instructions too. Stephens was there. Evans, how am I supposed to concentrate on my exam with someone breathing down my neck? Christ, sorry sir, I did not mean. So how am I going to concentrate? Oh my God. Okay, with somebody breathing down my neck, already one invigilator and another one officer. The governor reached for the phone. Jackson. So the governor was budging in. He was hearing everything. So he felt really it was becoming too much. So the governor reached for the phone. Jackson, oh good, get Stephens out of that cell, will you? I think we are overdoing things. So the governor heard it, and the governor felt the same, that we are overdoing things, and he called Jackson and he instructed Jackson to take Stephens out of the cell, because he also felt that they were overdoing things. As you wish, sir. So Jackson did as he was instructed. The governor heard the exchanges in the cell, heard the door clang once more. So the governor was able to hear everything because of the microphone placed there. He heard everything. Jackson went and told Stephens. Stephens went out and heard McCleary announce that the examination had begun at last. It was 9:25 a.m. that the examination started, and there was a great calm. Okay, the situation was absolute silence over there. The exam started at 9:25 a.m. So basically it was 10 minutes late. It was scheduled to start at 9:15 a.m., but it was 10 minutes late,